Okay, so we're gonna continue on with what I've been doing with the kind of comments, and I'll read it and I kind of answer. So I want to go to this one by Solely I. You called me a workaholic. I know. I work too hard and I don't get enough in return. I should probably do less because I don't get enough for how hard I work, if I'm being quite honest. But it is what it is. We'd like to hear your thoughts on Jahad's strength in comparison to the 10 great heads or Rec or FUG. So since it's like break, I'm actually gonna make two videos based off this comment. What I'll tell you with FUG right now, if you're talking about strength, obviously, is that like nobody in FUG can hold a candle to Urek Mazino. I don't even believe that Loose Leg can. I think Loose Leg might be the wild card and the one person, the leader FUG, and because of maybe him traveling with them and some stuff that he knows about V or whatever the case, and understanding maybe I feel like he got like a oracle almost and like a divination of like Bam and stuff. So like he would be the one where it's like he could do something, but I don't. You have to be an irregular to be able to stand to another irregular point period blank. So FUG would be cooked. I'm gonna focus on talking about Jahad right now versus the 10 great heads. And this is difficult to do in a video like this because obviously I have very little on the capabilities of all these characters. We've even seen Jahad do a little bit, but very small things. Data Jahad did what he did with Bam on the hidden floor. Then we had on I think in season I think it does season 2 chapter 305. I don't know if it's 305 in total. I think that's probably, that could be wrong, but anyways, when the power of Jahad comes through to the hidden floor and says, didn't I kill you already, and like and rings Bam by his neck, and he escapes with the second thorn fragment. Then we saw him against Hidden Grove using the needle from the golden needle from Mystery Island, but he used like a bunch. That was super dope. Then now we're seeing Traumaray a little bit with some of his summons and his anima abilities. So we saw like the Kraken, we saw the Sea Dragon, we saw Cobalt. The Cobalt throwing up the gang signs. That's one of the coolest frogs I ever seen. Shout out the Cobalt. That's the best. That's the best anima in Tower of God. Better than Dorian Frogs Beats by Dre on one. But anyways, like, bro, he ate 1,000 snakes to become like a deity or whatever. That was so cold. But that's beside the point. With Gus Dang, we've seen him heal Rachel. We've seen him a bug as a bug. We've seen him take souls, and then Ruination when he was reading his book and he ashed his cigarette, and after like the ships were blowing up, like we still haven't seen that much, but we did see Shinwan Ryu all creatures released that destroyed all the floors, right? We have statements like Eurasia has the ability to accelerate Shinsu at such a state. We know Urin, how Uranus is very physically capable defender for Hendo and whatnot. So again, until we actually go on panel and start to see these things happen in action and see them for ourselves, all we can do is speculate. But what I can tell you confidently is I believe that Jahad is way stronger than all the people he climbed with. I say way stronger, but I mean like demonstrably stronger. It's not that he can just be like, you're done, you're done, you're done. He'll have to fight with, he'll have to try, and he'll have to go into his bag. It's not going to be a walkover victory. He's going to have to try. However, I do think that he's stronger than all of them. Now, if they all teamed up on him, I have an inclination that the contract that he made with the tower, plus maybe some of the tools and weapons and items he's had, would give him a fighting chance. But I actually even want to say if he got jumped by all of them, I don't know if he could win. But then again, I'm literally speaking from the crease of my bum's pure headcanon. I have no idea because I haven't seen any of these characters fight seriously. Even with, I would actually argue Traumaray maybe in a weird way has the most, his showcase the most of his abilities as far as the upper echelon of regulars go. Maybe Urek, I don't know. Right? With the different creatures that we saw and him fighting with Yasracha and Baylor Diama and then Bam, if you will. So like maybe him or Gustang, but they haven't done much, so it's hard to say. But if you're asking me if I think that, do I think that any of them are like secretly stronger than him? No. But do I think that some of them have specific skills that he can't do at their level? Like I would be totally fine with like Gustang or Eurasia having better just general wave control or Shinsu control than Jahad. Maybe physically, from a defensive standpoint, maybe Shinsu resistance, Hendo was better at tanking hits, and maybe Ha Yurin is more athletic. But I think it's one of those things where maybe He does everything at such a high level. He may only be the best in like one thing, but he does everything at such a high level that he's the best. So even though it kind of reminds me of, so spoiler for anybody who's never watched or read Katekyoshi Hitman Reborn, right? I believe out of the Akabareno, the Cursed Seven Babies, I guess you could add 8 if you want to talk about Bermuda, I suppose. I believe Reborn is the strongest, but Reborn is not stronger than, and it's not smarter than Verde. Verde's smarter than him. But Reborn is extremely intelligent. I think where it comes to hand-to-hand combat, Fawn hasn't beat. But he's a very good hand-to-hand combatant. Top, second best, if anything. Colonello is really good with firearms and whatnot. I still think you can make the argument that Reborn is just as good. But you kind of get the point. They're the best at those things, but Reborn's level of intelligence and hand-to-hand combat and everything is so high. And every stat he has is so high across the board that ultimately, from top to bottom, overall, he's the best. That's how I see Jahad in comparison to the other ones. Now, I'm gonna throw a curveball in here because you didn't mention this character. I think the one that actually posed the greatest threat to him, in terms of status with the group, becoming, I guess, like the leader of the tower or whatnot, and in strength, was Bam's father, V. I think V was the one that would have been probably the second strongest, all things considered. This is, again, pure headcanon. I don't have much to base this on to get my own emotions and feelings and sentiments that I get from reading the webtoon and the ancillary blog post information that I have, and there's a couple speculations here. I'm not saying that I'm right by any stretch of the imagination, but I believe that V was the one that could step to him. Now let's talk about actually I'll use one video after that. Let's talk about Urek. I think Urek can beat him. I don't know who wins this battle. I don't. But I don't think Urek is inferior to him. It's one of those things that I always say. Let's say I live in a tower and it's like the biggest event ever. Urek Mazino versus Jahad, the king of the tower. And I like open up like Emily in the newspaper and I'm like, who won? And it's like, Jahad was victorious. I'd be like, well, okay, fair enough. Oh, Urek was victorious. I'd be like, fair enough. They draw. It was a draw. Fair enough. Like, no outcome would shock me. It comes across to me that I think that Jahad has more weapons and tools and armors and things that were gifted to him as he was climbing that will give him that advantage, while Urek is very physically strong from what I can see and tell, and he can just throw Shinshu at the speed of light, being known as the Ray Barracuda. I do think Enryu is stronger than him, though. So we're talking about, if you throw Enryu, like the kind of last big wig Irregular, I'm not going to throw Fanta in there because we know he's an Axis from another story in the Tales user story universe. Let's just like be real about the TOS stuff. Like, he's like the GOAT as the riddle. But I think Enryu can again, I actually wouldn't be that shocked if Jahad and or Urek could beat Enryu, but I would bet on Enryu. As far as I'm concerned, Phantom Minim aside, he's probably the most powerful person from top to bottom in the tower. But that was a good question. Again, the FUG part of your question is just unserious to me. Like they don't hold a candle to Jahad. But yeah, I think that Jahad's ranking is generally pretty right. I think at worst he's 4. You swap him and Mazzino. But what do you guys think? In the comment section below, let me know. And if you have any other interesting questions like this, feel free to ask, and have yourself some mighty fine day. I'm gonna be out here. Shout out to the Patreon gang. Because of y'all, I don't gotta consume ice soup every day. Y'all ever ate ice soup? Y'all never had no ice soup. Anyways, shout out to the CVL. That's the certified BAM lovers. Shout out and salute to the Priest of Fire. That's the real CBL certified Brilith lovers. But the biggest and largest thanks to the 5th Zen gods, my tier 3 pledgers. That's Big Abdel, Triss, Fitz, Irene Sharda, Jacob Holland, Johnny Rogers, Lazy Dragon, Lucky Roo, Revenant, Scobe, Silo, Simi. He got a Twitch now. Go follow him on Twitch. Sunny Katha Polly and Zodiac Nemiko. You guys, your support is greatly appreciated because I'm tired of eating ice soup, man. I'm tired of it.